Hello, hello. My name is Ilyasa Simpson. I am the host tonight. I am Minister Charge. I am from the Charge Room, and tonight's the nights for the ladies. So it's Queens Must Wear Crowns. Yes, this platform is for ladies who are queens. I want you to identify that you are queens. And when are you queens? You are queens at all times. Where do you reign? You reign over your eminent domain, over any territory that you choose. But you choose it for the good and not the evil, right? So this is the part where we come together as women. And for women, we are bringing awareness today. We are bringing awareness every day because what we want to do is enlighten our minds, enlarge our hearts. Because when we have knowledge, when we gain knowledge, we learn that knowledge, apply that knowledge to our lives, and not only that, we're going to share that knowledge. Because what good is it if you're just taking it and keeping it all for yourself, right? What good is that? So tonight I'm super excited because on this women's platform tonight, we're going to talk about a topic that kind of gets skipped over. So it's more like the elephant in the room kind of topic. So what we want to do is bring forth, because today last week I actually requested a panel because I was interested into getting views from levels from all different facets. So we have married, we have single, we have male and female. We want to bring it in to give a little shine on everything, just to hype up the interest. So I love interesting topics, and the topic tonight is Black women are taught how to live without a man rather than to keep one. So I am like, wow. I was sent this topic from a beautiful queen from my hometown in Freeport. She sent it to me. She said, you know what? This is an interesting topic. And I said, you know what? Let's do it. So tonight is the night we choose, and we are going to talk about how Black women are taught how to live without a man rather than to keep one. So I'm going to bring on my panelists. We have Sharice Michelle. We have Tanya J. We have Sean Bolden. We have Mrs. Vera Booker. We have King Herman. We have Angela Reynolds. So, yes, all of the queens and kings are on deck tonight. It is a full house, and we're going to discuss this topic. But I just want to give a little bit of facts. So, I was looking up in the really two places. I was looking at the Washington Post, and then they was discussing how CNN and ABC News and even Oprah, along with the Washington Post, said 70% of Black women are single. Out of the Black women that are single, from the 70%, 42% are unmarried. Black women complain of being successful and lonely, right? However, the counterparts of the white women between the ages, and I'm also going by ages. So let's talk about the ages. So the ages between 25 and 29, 50, yeah, 54%. And then between the ages are of 30 and 34%, they've never been married at all. So 43% of non-Hispanic white women between the ages of 25 and 29 have not been married. So the the distinction between 71%, right, and 43%, that's a high number.
Mm-hmm.
So we can ask ourselves, okay, so why is that? Like, where does that come from? And I'm the type of person, I like to dig deep. So digging, I'm going back in the times of slavery. So I'm going to break down this segment into two parts because we only have an hour. And I want everyone's viewpoint to come alive. So right now, what I did, I'm starting from 1974, right? So I'm going to show you a small clip of something from 1974. So right now we're going from 1974 to current. Next week we're going to go back into slavery and bring it up to current. So give me 2 seconds. Let me share my screen. And I'm going to play all-time favorite movie that I know I used to love.
Coolie High.
Can everybody see
No.
it?
Claudine.
Everybody? All right.
Yes.
Right? So we're going to play this.
In any way. Social worker. Society gave us no choice. Silence my voice. Oh, don't just stand there, honey. Let her in. This man may be bringing things into your home which you may not be deducting. Now, you know I have to deduct your those things. What things? What things, damn it? You have a man come up and then he brings you a bottle of wine. I have a man come up and then he brings me a damn six-pack. Oh, there are 2 left. Hey, but would you like a beer?
If you've ever laughed, you'll date Claudine.
You're the gentleman that's been keeping company here.
Oh.
Let me have your name, please.
Simpson X, that's it. Put it up correct. Simpson X. If you've ever cried, you'll date Claudine.
Mama, I'm not a baby anymore. I'm even not a baby, but I'm not a woman. I'm nothing. That's what I am. I don't know nothing. I don't have nothing. I'm nothing.
If you've ever had dreams, you'll date Claudine.
I've actually avoided success. Oh, no. You know why? Because if you are successful and rich, people will envy you and hate you. I want people to love me.
If you've ever had trouble, you'll date Claudine.
Oh, yeah. Cheer up. Worse. I cheered up and all was right. Got worse.
If you've got heart,
Suppose I do not hold this thing. Now, if I move in with it and do not tell you, then we're both crooks, right? But if I do tell you, then we're back to the income and the outcome and the damn deducting, and you try me to drink. And you call a fraud if I spend $7 for a bottle of whiskey.
if you've got soul,
There's one thing you better know.
So everybody saw that small clip of Claudine, right? So that was back in 1974. That time, if you were in the system, you can't have good things. I'm gonna say the good things in life compared to another race. So if we're on the system, we can't have black love because the second we say, "Oh, I have a love," the minute they tell us we can't have A, we can't have B, we can't have C. But it's okay if they can have a bottle of wine, but we can't even have a can of beer to enjoy with our new partner. So I'm talking about in 1974. Bring it all the way up to today. Looking at that clip compared to now, why do you think women feel that it's okay to not have a partner? Who wants to go first? Okay, don't all speak at once.
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't think it's that we should not have a partner. The thing is, when you have broken homes, and the father figure is not there or the husband is not there, it pushes a woman to work harder to where she don't need a man. So now when a man comes into the picture, what can you really bring to the table? What can you give me that I can't give myself now?
That's interesting because you're right. It's been designed that way, is what she's sharing. It's been designed that way for quite some time. And it forces the family structure to break down in the urban communities, the Black communities specifically. And when you feel that way, it brings in the ability of you not being able to receive what it is that you deserve.
That's correct.
Can I just piggyback that? People got to that part in the movie. I think that was probably a social worker doing an inspection. You know, back then when we were on public assistance, we weren't even allowed to have a man living in the house.
At
If
all.
a man living in the house, then they would cut your benefits. Same thing. I don't know if you feel like that today with Section 8, but I just seen the people who had Section 8. You know, back in the 70s, you go up to, you know, the 90s. Even on Section 8, you cannot have a male living in the household. So I agree, you know, with Sean when he says it is designed, that it is systematically designed to have women condition themselves to not need a man, to position yourself so that you can pay your bills by yourself and do everything by yourself. And the unfortunate part is that at some point, women do begin to say, what do I need a man for? I'm doing everything by myself. I'm not an advocate of that, but I do understand how they got there. I think we need to really pay attention to the system and how it's designed in terms of just incarceration, men being able to find a job. I mean, men being able to, it's almost like, well, one, they're unemployable because they don't have an education. So even if they get a job, it's not going to be up to a some women's standard. And interestingly enough, statistically speaking, when women get, not, I have some feedback. Is my voice coming in clear or does it sound really loud?
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Yeah, it is some feedback, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me see if I turn my sound down. How does that sound?
That was better. That's better.
Okay, I probably had it too
That's
loud.
much better.
Awesome. So what I wanted to say was women with a master's degree or higher tend to delay marriage in life because they've earned their way, they feel like they've earned their keep, and they tend to not want to date men who are not on their level, or they tend to date outside of their race. So I mean, if you really look at those statistics, it's almost like brothers really don't even stand a chance today. But I see a smile on Sean's face, so I'm gonna let him climb in.
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, and Herman, you might be able to understand this as well, being a Black man, is that it was designed that way. You know, they also have some theories that the design was that way to empower a woman because a woman is not a threat to a white man, whereas a Black man is a threat to a white man. So a woman can have sex with a white man, a Black man cannot. So therefore, they designed it specifically to be sure that you will break up your family to where you cannot provide for your family without doing something illegal, and I will be able to. And so that theory also exists out there, and we never really look at it from that standpoint and kind of demean the respect of a man, of a Black man, because it was designed to have that it was designed to have that family broken up so that another person can come in and empower the woman because they don't feel threatened by her, as well as take away the power from the man and take the man out of the household specifically, like you described.
Yeah, Sean, absolutely right. Ilyasa, it's so funny you said you're going to do this in a two-part series because a lot of it I was going to hit off first with, if you look at the whole method of slavery where they took the man out, left the woman with the children, and then sold her off. And so by chance, you would happen to find some families that were able to put the brokenness back together and strive on. Because I know when I was younger, you know, I was so used to getting ready to meet the young lady's father. And that was like a, as that was like a big thing for me, even though you scared as I don't know what, but you know what, sir, I like to date your daughter. But now if you look at it, when I deal with my students, it's just like, it's just the mother there, or nobody's home at the house, and then they're free to do whatever. And then now we got kids raising kids, and fathers laying down, making the baby, but not sticking around for it. And just to the point, you have a lot of moving dynamics that are intertwining, so that we never really get to the root cause.
I agree.
You want to add to that?
I want to say something. Yes and no as far as women not being a threat. I think that's actually not relevant now. Black women are definitely a threat right now for the simple fact that we're more educated than ever before. We're the bottom feeders when it comes to corporations. They see us walk in the room, there's fear. They go after us with everything that they have. I've experienced it to levels that you couldn't even imagine. I could tell you stories for hours on into the wee hours of the morning. Yes, we are all broken. I think the problem within our race on both sides, people think systemic racism is just about the police brutality. It goes far beyond that. There's a system that's been in place to hold us back in every level. We failed one another, men and women, black women and black men alike. We failed one another. The black man gets into this woe is me mentality, whereas the black woman is going to forge forward. You have black men who are affluent, very well educated. That, Angela, to spin off of what you said, usually you find them who have bachelor's degree or master's degrees, and they have some sort of attainment in life. They look down on us. They're going to go for something outside of our race. And I've seen it. I've traveled the world. I've seen it. Just, and they look at us like, but then we as sisters, we fail because, take that time, encourage that brother, see some type of potential in him, let him know that you're more than what they say you are. You understand what I mean? So we have got to learn to break down our barriers and our preconceived notions of, stop trying to measure a person by what they have. Look at their heart, see the character of that individual, see their potential. You understand what I mean? Then black love can grow, and it has. You understand what I mean? So we have to come together as one. You see every other race that support one another, but we finger pointing, you this, you that, look at him, look at her, no. We got to stop that nonsense. We have got to. I have to say, sure, my brother, Herman, my brother, you know what? You more than what they say you are. You understand what I mean? And Angela and Yasa, they know me from when we grew up together. We encourage one another. We're beautiful people. You understand what I mean? So I think if every one of us take our part, whoever you passing, on the street, let's start greeting one another. Let's start saying, hey, you know what? Can I help you out? Instead of frowning our nose or whatever. So yes, it goes back to slavery. We have got to break this system that has been put in place to hold us down. And we are the ones who are frontline workers to start doing that. That's mine.
And to chime in, you're absolutely right. And my point is not that our black women are not powerful. You absolutely are powerful, but often when you get that power, black men and women, you lose sight of being able to uplift and bring along and utilize that power to uplift. And so you're powerless at that point in reference to our community. Mm-hmm. And my point in what you're saying is you're absolutely right. And this goes for both men and women. Like you just described, when a man gets there, he wants to go off and not bless his queen or not bless his sister. And it's the same way. It's kind of like fame and or success is another attribute that puts us in a displacement. Mm-hmm.
Well, I have to agree with everyone. We know that they purposely did that to separate the black man and the black woman. And we are continuing to replicate the oppressive mentality. And it really truly is up to us. But I have to only speak for myself. I love communication, and I think I'm a very patient person. And I have been in love, and I am still in love with Black men. But I find it very difficult at times to deal with a Black man. Not because they're not capable of loving, but I found myself so much that I was breathing life into them that I was actually breathless. And they did not know how to resuscitate me. They did not see when I was crying out for help. They did not know how to fluff my wings up. So it's like I'm constantly have to be a cheerleader, which I don't have a problem, but sometimes I need a cheerleader as well. Sometimes I need someone to tell me, Tanya, you can make it. Tanya, I believe in you. If I'm constantly sending out the praises and giving you the support, and you can't pour it back into me, then I feel that it's falling on hollow ground. That's how I feel. So sometimes it becomes frustrating. Like, when are you able to reap what you sow into your relationship? When are you able to do that? I feel like I make kings, but I don't actually keep kings. So I'm like, what's the problem? And statistically wise, okay, financially I'm not like a millionaire, but statistically, I think that I am what a lot of men should look for. I don't have any children. I don't have any baggage. I don't have any mental illness. I'm willing to work. I have days, and I do have property, not mansions and stuff like that, but I have potential to earn more. But it's like, it's a problem. It's a problem, especially when you communicate with them on a level where it's just you. And I don't know if it's the fact that they're not ready for it. I don't know if the fact that they can't process and understand it, or I don't know what it is, but I get so frustrated that at this moment, I'm just doing me right now. And it's not the fact that I don't love Black men. I adore Black men. I think that they come in an array of different colors, and they come in an array of different creativity, hope, everything. But we have to be able to acknowledge our hurt and go to our mates, whether it's a man or a woman, and let them know that we're vulnerable and we need healing so we can heal together. But I mean, that's just how I feel about on a certain level. Obviously, there's more, but that's just what I have to say at this moment.
I think culturally. Go ahead. I think culturally we are a very compassionate people, but I do think, historically speaking, we've never been in a position to. Do I sound muffled again?
I don't know. It's not like
your mic is going in and out again. Yes.
Your mic is giving a feedback again.
I can't hear you.
Your mic is giving a feedback.
I don't even know why I turned it down. Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
So I have it down so low I can't hear you guys. So I'm going to speak and then.
No, you're loud and clear.
But what I do find is that I don't want to go back too far, because I know you want to do a 2-part series to this. But I think it's hard for men, or just Black people in general. I think we are very compassionate people. I think that's just inherent in our nature. But to be able to show compassion towards one another is something that we've been stripped from. You know, we haven't historically been able to go to our brother or our sister when they were down or when they were hurting. We had to stand there and we had to mind our own business. Mm-hmm. We've always had to, you know, not get involved. And then our parents raised us to mind your own business. You can look at other cultures, and when there's a problem in the family, the whole family's involved. With us, it could be our own sister or brother, and we take the attitude of, well, I'm just going to mind my business. I don't have anything to do with it. That's not my story to tell. And I think it's unfortunate because the healing begins when we can come together and we can learn how to heal each other. Yeah. The healing can't begin as long as we stand alone as individuals. The healing will never begin as long as I look at my sister, and if my sister's on this screen today, or my brother's on this screen, and be like, yeah, well, you know, he must like it, he's still there, or she must like it, she's still there. Like, we have all of these things that excuses us from actually being involved. And I'm not talking about from a point where, you know, I'm here for you and you can talk to me, then I go tell your story to someone else. Mm-hmm. We've learned over time and historically how not to trust each other. Exactly. We've learned how not to trust each other. So because of that, it's harder for us to even open ourselves up from an emotional perspective, from an intimate perspective. And a lot of us are damaged, and that hurt is what governs our decisions. When you're dealing with hurt, you've seen your father in relationship who may have, you know, cheated on your mother, or, you know, physically abused your mother. I mean, you know, there are so many different stories that we hear or we see and we witness that begins to shape our reality. And this happens at such a young age. And over time, it begins to shape how you see the world. And so we grow up as these individuals. You know, truth be told, you know, when my father cheated on my mother, you know what I said? I will never love a man so much that I can't leave him in a drop of a dime. And let me tell you something, that's exactly what I did. Pregnant 2 times in my life, and I left both of my children's father while I was pregnant. I was like, I left with baby in my belly, and that was a generational curse though. And we always say we're breaking them, but sometimes the generational curses start with us. And we have to take ownership and realize of the poison that we're not only feeding ourselves, but now we're extending the life of that curse into our children. What are we teaching them, and what are they witnessing? And so for me, I had to raise 2 children by myself because the fear of getting hurt on any level. And if I saw any signs of it, I was out. Like, I just wanted to skedaddle and be out of that relationship. Like, nope, I could do it. I'm gonna do it by myself. Now, I've never wanted to be by myself, but the fear of being hurt or being cheated on was greater than the fear of staying and working it out. So I think we are compassionate. I just think that we need to, do some serious healing. And I think, again, we confuse, like the sister Tanya said, that, you know, she needs somebody to fluff up her wings. You know, on our topic 2 weeks ago, Brother Herman, when we said, when I said, well, why can't you heal us? You come to us for nurturing. Why can't you heal us? And I think the confusion is between what's broken and what's bruised. Things that are broken need to be repaired. Things that are bruised just need to be healed. And I think the more we get in touch and begin to trust each other, I think that will kind of. Say it again.
That was you.
Oh, I'm getting my own echo then. I think the more we, kind of work that subconscious healing, I think that will kind of open us up to loving more and receiving more. And, listen, I'm open.
Wow. That sounds like we have to do self-reflection.
Wow.
I was going to build on that because, Tanya, you just made a point. It's about taking accountability.
Exactly. And being vulnerable too. It's okay to be vulnerable. Vulnerable is a strength. It's not a weakness. And we have been taught in society that it's a weakness. When you can identify your vulnerability, you can therefore start arming yourself and start making yourself stronger. But until you're not able to identify these things, you are never going to know what breaks you, what builds you up, because you're gonna think everything is going to hurt you.
Absolutely. Are you able to? Go ahead.
I have a viewpoint because it appears that again we are going to a strong point of the woman being accountable, and the man too, but more so the woman to because we can make decisions that can break or make us. So let's say again, are we the cause of because since this is not 1974 anymore, and we have more of a power to make the decision of who comes out of our lives. Um, and Vera, as you made the standpoint of, we women are now way more educated than even the white counterparts that are
We are
in
the most
the
educated person in the
workforce.
world.
So then, so is it that we make the man feel so intimidated because of our success that we become unapproachable? Like, are we so that much full of ourselves that we as single women snub black men to put them down because they have a less menial job, or because we're single and we don't need you? Like, does it just, is there a point where it shifts to pivot itself to say, well, it's not because my mother or my grandmother was on welfare and we were hiding our nice things behind the curtains and in the closet. Now that we have surpassed all of that, we become educated and now we have power. Is it our attitudes and our egos that's placing us in positions to snub our black men, to make them think that they're not good enough? However, at the same time, there's some women that, because they're single, powerful, and lonely, they become vulnerable, right? To accept, quote unquote, anything.
And that's
And then
settling.
that builds a man's ego, that they feel that they can treat women any kind of way. And then because the woman does not want to be lonely, they accept that any kind of behavior, inappropriate mistreatment. Like, help me out here. I need a view, because it's a whole bunch of viewpoints coming through here. And and a whole, then levels are opening up. That's like, whoa. Because I'm listening to everybody, it sounds like black love is here. It sounds like black love is definitely here. A man wants the love of his woman, and a woman wants the love of the man. But what are the barriers? How can we get rid of these barriers that is pushing us away versus bringing us together? What will it take? That will do? Because it sounds, again, back to ego's ignorance and attitude, as far as I'm concerned, on both parts. So what will it take so that we don't have to put these societal titles to say, oh, well, the black woman is this or the black man is that? How could we bring awareness to minimize these standards that society is giving us?
Well, yes, sir.
Who's gonna start?
All right, I'll start. Okay, so I know, first of all, I'm a Christian woman, and when I look at family back then versus family now, we, as a people, have left the morals that in which our ancestors had built. I find that society we have allowed society to dictate who we are. We've gotten away from God. When there's no foundation, that's why I think a lot of the men, started straying from the house. Women were put in a position where now they had to step up to be mom and dad. And yes, arrogance and all of the other stuff comes into play. But what breaks that? Humility breaks that. I think for myself, I can tell my own personal testimony. It took God to break me, because I was like, oh no. I was like, Angela, keep it moving. Get out of here. I zero tolerance. And in order for me to look at because of my level of education, because of my jobs or whatever, arrogance sets in. It's like, what can he do for me? So in order to break that mindset, it took humility, for me to say, you know what, it ain't about me. It's about, in order to fully give yourself away, you gotta love. Love is God loves. You understand what I mean? So if you take the approach of, you put a checklist of what this person has and what you have, somebody's gonna come up wanting. You understand what I mean? So in order to try to build a family, you've got to look at it in the perspective of, again, it goes back to the character. If we start looking at people for their character versus what they have monetarily, property, whatever, their level of education, whatever, and start to see the potential in the individual. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some people out there where it's like, run for the hills. I don't care what color they are. But again, I think it's based on if people will humble themselves, have some sort of, you don't have to believe as I believe. But for me, I noticed that back then, a praying family, they did everything together. We don't do everything together. We've got all these electronic leashes. We allow these, games or whatever else to our children to, we don't take the time with them. And so then that culminates into their adulthood. And now, they've adopted a society mentality.
We assimilate. That's the problem.
Exactly.
Wow.
We put on presses, goals, and views.
Wow. I agree wholeheartedly. I was going to say we've replaced morality with monetary interest. And your idea, you said, how do we change it? It's what do we look for? What she just said is very critical. A lot of women don't look for character. They look for financial support, or they look for good sex or good loving, and miss character altogether. And you have a lot of women who get sexed well and they start admiring somebody who could just satisfy that portion, or you get somebody who takes care of them well and they admire that portion, but never get good character and miss good character altogether because they're clouded with those other desires or needs that are being fulfilled. And if you got good character, that can also, when you both have good character, can build all of those other things, can build a good a physical relationship. It can build a good financial foundation. But if you miss that character, you will miss a lot.
But what if the person who missed the character don't have character themselves?
It goes both ways. I'm not saying character woman to man, but it happens more often, in my opinion, women to man. It happens more, like I spoke with my mother, for example, and she was a single woman and independent. And I said, Ma, you lost sight of what was important because all you was concerned with was who could provide for you and your kids. Mm-hmm. And when you started just thinking about it from that perspective, we lost everybody?
What happened?
I don't know.
Like you have the screen.
How you hold on. Hold on. Wait a minute. Sharice is there. Hold on. I'm looking up this thing. Sorry.
You over there
Welcome back. Welcome back.
That
was a commercial.
Everybody was just looking for.
I was just the character is very important, and I think we've lost sight of character in our community, in our society, and it's not just in our Black community, in society on a whole. Okay. So it's important if you want some substance.
Yeah, well,
I think my mother was a single mother as well, and my mother never talked negatively about my father at all. And that was one of the greatest gifts that she has ever given me, because she allowed me to find out who a person is on my own, instead of through somebody else's eyes. But she was proud, and she is still a prideful woman. And I noticed that a lot of men, the very thing that they found attractive about you is the one thing that they start thinking about you once you start getting in a relationship with them. Like they like the fact that you was confident when they first met you. They like the fact that you was hardworking. And then all of a sudden when you're in a relationship, that's the one thing that they upset about you doing, being a hard worker, being confident. So it's like, what happens? What happens? It's something in the process of courting and something in the process of being in a relationship. Something gets lost. And I don't know what it is and when it happens, but something gets lost.
I think a little bit of that is some brothers may start to feel inadequate because they may want more themselves, and if they're with you and to see you grow, it can, your light kind of shines on there where they may not be as bright. I want to use my words properly so no one has to defend the language. But I think over time people just start to feel inadequate. They may want to, like, I think inherently a lot of brothers want to do better. They want to do more. They want to be more. They want to have more. And inherently, they want to provide. I think it's the very nature of who they are. I do believe that over time, if they can't put their ducks in a row and success isn't aligning for them the way that they like it to, yes, they admire our strength as a woman, but in a relationship, they don't want to fight with that strength. They don't want to bump heads with it because they start to feel a challenge. But I also want to make a note to something else you said when, and Sean, you kind of spoke to when you said you're not saying male or woman. It appears to be both. But it seems like it's more women than men who are going through it. What Tanya was speaking of, at birth, there are more male babies at birth, black male babies at birth, than there are black female babies. By the age of 34, half of our brothers are gone. Another percentage of them are incarcerated. Another percentage of them just have no education, unemployment, or they're questioning their own sexual identity. So now you have all of these women. And what I find fascinating is that there are so many different, books and Dr. Steve Harvey. You got so many men telling women how to be a woman, how to get a man, how to keep a man. There's nobody's writing books and telling brothers how to be a man and how to keep a woman and how they need to grow in the areas of life where they need to. And if it is, Sean, you look like you sit on the edge of your seat. And if it is books out there, it's not making them, it's not generating the dollars the way that it is for women. So you have all of these women that's doing the work. You got all these women that's doing the healing. You got all these women that's out here and they're ready to move forward and they're, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. But then we're ready. We're out here. We're like, okay, well, brother, here I am. But who's teaching the others? Who's guiding them? And unfortunately, it's not enough of single men out here who are available. And then it's like, I'll read some people's posts and, do we get to pick people that we're attracted to, or do we just have to take anybody because we're single and you say you like me? Like, is it okay? I mean, is it all right? So it's like when it's like to get criticized, it's not that we're trying to be picky, but at the end of the day, you can't help who you love.
Well, you can. You can. You can help who you love, and it's about identifying who you love prior to one of the things that get us the most cloud is when we become intimate, and that intimacy often clouds your vision on what it is or who it is that you're dealing with, because you get clouded. But the reason why I stood up is because you made a point and you mentioned Steve Harvey, and I look at Steve Harvey as a man. He condones lying, and people buy into it. He condones, oh yeah, man's supposed to lie. Oh, it's all good. And all these women condone it and say, okay, think like a man. Why are you listening to him?
And why I gotta think like a man? Why can't I think like a woman?
Exactly.
Absolutely. But guess what? Because it's popular, it's trending. And a lot of people follow trends as opposed to follow their mindset and lead trends.
And they trying to keep us from actually finding out who we really are. Because if we think like a man and we a woman, then we really have never tapped into who we think we are, which is a woman.
Well, it already started when you got now people with the gender revealing and all this other stuff. So there's a whole nother monster that's out here. And one thing is that, you know, turn off the TV, go back to sitting down and having conversations, not always with your, you know, check your friends, your circle. You know, that's one thing. You have a lot of men that are good, but sometimes who they rolling with, forget about it. You know, and it's just, you know, everybody, y'all are hitting on the points. Tanya, I feel you. You know, and it's just okay. Let's break down the barriers, and you know, let's go from here. But how do we get this to get out there? You know, and it's just like just continuing what Ilyas is doing with his word of mouth, and really just having a panel come together. Let's talk about it. We've stopped talking. More than anything, we've been watching TV, so it's no coincidence that, you know, you got somebody say, I want somebody like Cardi B, I want somebody like Nicki Minaj, and you're looking at them and you're like, well, Little Kim used to be beautiful, what happened? You know. And then the last thing that Sean touched on is character. That's what it really comes down to, character. And we know better. But we do have that other side of us that's like, well, we could change them. Well, we could take this. It's okay. We're going to be all right. But then once that sex gets involved, it's a whole nother monster. Now we have children. The interesting conversation I had with my daughter the other day is I'm a grandfather now. She's 18. And, you know, it hurt me, but I had to tell her because she was like, oh, the baby father, he don't want to do nothing. I don't need him. And I was like, baby girl,
there we go.
You still need him for the fact of your daughter. You know, and right now, y'all just taking care of my granddaughter, you know, but at the same time, you have to set the boundaries. If he's not looking to, he's only just trying to be with you because he got the baby with you, then no. But it comes down to, you know, putting those priorities in place. And we just got to get off the TV because that's not who we are.
You know,
in the TV shows.
And these these rom-coms that's making us believe that love actually comes the way that it comes on these movies. It's not true. It's not true.
I think with the healing work that I believe we really need to do, I think we really need to heal from a subconscious place. One thing Jared did touch on is that God has been removed. Doesn't make a difference with how you choose to believe in God, whether or not you're Muslim, Christian. You got to believe in something greater than you. And I think a lot of times with brothers and sisters, but since the focus is what it is today, I think a lot of times when you are going through a crisis, when you don't have a relationship with God, then it's hard to turn to something outside of you, or really which is deeply rooted inside of you, to seek that guidance and speak that spiritual assistance. And then you said setting boundaries. I think, you know, I think it's hard to set boundaries when you don't know your value. And I think a lot of times with women, you know, we say I'm worth more, I'm worth more, I'm worth this, I'm worth that. But I think the key is, you know, you can't determine your worth without first knowing your value. And it's like a car or a diamond. You know, if you've ever bought a car before, you know the price of the car is worth this because of the value of the car. It's the same thing with a diamond. And I think a lot of times as women, we know what we want and we say, this is what I'm worth. But we don't know our value. And our value is our character traits, our core character traits that we came to the planet with. That's why I say I think the healing really has to come from such a subconscious place. Like really, really deep in this level of connection that we need to have with a higher power, with God, is something that today we're even afraid to even talk about God. In fact, if you are a person who brings God into a conversation, it's like people consider you weird. People consider you weird. People, don't want to talk to you like, oh my God, here she goes. She's going to start reciting scriptures, or she's going to start quoting stories, or whatever, whatever it is. And I think it makes people uncomfortable. People don't, it's easier for me to focus on you than it is to focus on me. And that's the part of the healing that I'm talking about. And you got to be real honest. It's not always easy for us to be honest. Like I said, when I put that generational curse on myself and said, I ain't never going to need to love somebody so much that I can't leave them at a drop of a dime, what I did was I put a block on my ability to not only give love, but to receive it. So when I put when I started that generational curse, by saying that, I didn't realize that, the door that I was shutting, I thought I was shutting everybody out from hurting me, but really I was shutting myself in.
From receiving love.
Sure.
Receiving love. Absolutely. And I think it takes that deep level, I think it takes that deep level of honesty.
I was calling. She came.
It takes that deep level of honesty just to be able to get that type of healing and that closure from our past.
Wow. And you know what's interesting? I personally, if you don't recognize, for example, in my relationship, I try and constructively criticize, yet it's taken offensively. And I gave the example of, okay, so it's like you don't want me to, you got a booger on your nose, and you don't want me to point out that booger because you feel like I'm insulting you. I'm just supposed to walk around and look at that booger and just be like, okay, because you don't want to hear it, I'm not supposed to say it. Or because I say, oh, that's nasty booger, now you're feeling like I'm insulting you. How does that, how if you can't be honest enough to say thank you for being able to point out that booger and wiping it off my face, or having me wipe it off my face, but yet you sit there and walk around, oh, it's okay, I'm good, and I'm like, nah, you're not. I see a booger right there. Don't talk to me like that. So I'm using that analogy because that happens often when you are trying to lift, but yet it's not received as lifting, it's received as insulting.
See, that should not be. To me, that person has a problem within themselves. It's not you. In any relationship, you should be able to say whatever. I say stuff to my husband. Sometimes I knock it, I say whatever, but it should be that way. I can say whatever. It doesn't matter. It's like, oh my God, I need to get in the shower or whatever it is. Or, look at me now, like now I had to cut my hair. But look at me, I'm bald head, whatever. It's like, dude, we like, well, what I tell you earlier, Yasa, he was like, yeah, let me go get you shaped up. I said, what are we dudes now? It doesn't matter. I didn't take offense to that. You know what I mean? Because I know it's coming from a place of love. Know who you are. You understand what I mean? And I think it starts at, nobody needs to get in a relationship if they're not comfortable with who they are, if they don't love themselves, because they'll be incapable of loving you. Not just that, but making those sacrifices that need to be made in a relationship. It's a give and take situation. You know what I mean? It's a job. You gotta work hard at it. It's like getting on that treadmill cranked up to 10. It's going, you know what I mean? So, but you got to be willing to do that. You should be in any relationship. If that's not healthy, I'm going to tell you that right here and now, Sean. It's not healthy. So if a person takes offense to you saying, oh, you got an oogie in your nose, or like, you dig at it, when a person, they get offended, nah, that's not good. So that you have to sit and re-examine, like, wait a minute. If that person is not willing to listen, that's within them. It's not you. So you have to, make a decision of whether or not to stay, or, to walk away, but I can tell you in the end, if it continues like that, if that person is that sensitive, I don't know. Angela, what you think? I don't know if that's.
I can understand that. Go ahead.
I think what would be important for me is I would wonder what's behind that defense. Were they a person who grew up and they were constantly being criticized?
Yeah.
Are they a person who feels like nothing they do is enough? What was their childhood like? What was their past relationships like? When someone says ouch, it's usually not in that moment. It's usually something that has been built up over time. And then here we are today, we're around and say, listen, I don't like that. You're making me feel uncomfortable. The first time a thing happens, we don't usually say anything because it hasn't really damaged us. So when you get that type of fight from her, when you get that type of resistance, it's 9 times out of 10, it's probably because she's experiencing some deep level pain that she hasn't really dealt with. And she may not even be cognizant of it, because when things begin to take root, roots can go so deep below the surface that you can't even see it from the outside. And it's just that your words may trigger some type of latent emotion that she really hasn't dealt with. So I just want to say this enough before I forget. If you do care about her, depending on the length of your relationship, and if the relationship is worth your investment, your time, your love, then I want to say to you, you need to have a sit down and you need to talk about things the way that she's showing up. And I want to say this to you: 9 times out of 10, the faults that you find in your spouse, I guarantee you I could find them in you if I sat down and listened to you. I guarantee you. Or you wouldn't be able to, you two wouldn't resonate with each other. And I'm certain that there are areas in your life that you're showing up that you may not be able to receive certain things either. Well, maybe not in the same fashion, but
I can't. I won't dispute that, but I self-evaluate often, and so when in fact I do see it, I accept it, be accountable for it, and trying to change it. Now, the key is being honest with yourself and accepting. And that's something that goes on within our community often. And so if you can't accept, out of respect and love, the character of somebody who's trying to share and uplift you, then it becomes a fight. Now, by all means, I get what you're saying. And as a matter of fact, what happens when you are saying, okay, yeah, I do identify the root of it. Now, are you willing to address the root?
I think a lot of people want to. I think a lot of people want.
One second. Sure. Sharice had a comment. Can you hear me, Sharice?
My comment earlier was saying to everyone, women do want a black man in their life, but there's a lot of things that black men bring to the table that we don't have the nonsense to tolerate anymore. Like we just don't want to deal with it. So how is men going to fix their issues moving forward to be with a black woman?
Well, I understand that, and it's about understanding we don't have tolerance as well. So it's about recognizing what's intolerable.
But I asked the men the question. It's not to react back to women. We want to know what are men going to do.
What you can't tolerate? What you can't tolerate?
What can't we tolerate? What can't we tolerate? Emasculation.
What else?
I mean, but let's start there.
No, let's not start there. Let's go a little deeper. What can you not?
But that's part of the emasculation.
Let's say your woman's not emasculating you. What's another thing? I
get that, but if you don't address that, you're not having the respect to address the other stuff.
But okay, but what if that's not the issue that Sharice has in her relationship? Let's say hypothetically. So what's another thing that you feel that y'all can't tolerate, you as a man?
She would have to ask a man that. I'm
right.
saying emasculation. What I'm saying is emasculation is basically the root of it is disrespect. Okay. And if in fact you don't respect a person, you're not going to listen to what it is that they're trying to come to you and express to you, and therefore there won't be a resolution.
What if disrespect is not in the equation? It's something else.
Yeah.
Then let's speak about it. But the first thing is understanding, okay, are you respecting what I'm going to say? Regardless of what you want to hear it. Don't think of it as an excuse, it's a reality. And are you willing to accept that reality? And stop calling it an excuse.
King, do you support his facts?
I put it like this. There's a point that he's right. There's a point that I hear from you, but I don't know the man that you're dealing with. Because when it comes to men, everybody with different creatures. I hate to say it because it's like There's some that, you know, like me, I'm a gentleman. So that thug stuff, that ain't me. You know, I'm gonna talk to you, and if I'm not listening to you, I can break it down, calm down, and say, yo, look, this is what it is. And then if we still don't meet eye to eye, okay, let's go to the counselor.
All right, we need counseling. So?
We need counseling. All right, where you want to go to? Yeah, so what's your fee? What's your hours? Me and Sharice have an issue.
Okay, so this
I have an issue with the man I'm with when I'm single. So I'm asking the black man the question: What are your issues? What are y'all issues with women?
Well, you're stereotyping by saying black man. What is your issue as that man who you had? What is the issue of this man who you're with?
I dated outside my race, so I can only speak about the black men I've been with before. Or
you only once again the black men you've been with.
Right, but I'm not judging you based off the black man I've been with.
It sounds that way.
See, communication.
I guess she's looking for some insight from a man's perspective, Sean. And let's speak about respect. Okay, so I'm gonna try to say this very fast. Okay, so in 2007, I was pregnant, right? So I was with this dude. Granted, I didn't really know the dude, so it was my fault that I didn't spend that time getting to know who he was, right? But now I'm pregnant, right? So now, boom, I'm working, got my own place, got my own car, working, taking care of myself, right? So he moved to where I'm at. So we have to actually look for a bigger apartment because he has a son and then he has a son, right? So the new apartment that he found is a little bit more than the apartment than what I was paying, right? But I said, okay, I can swing it because now we're partnering together, right? We're building a family, right? So I said, okay, I have my rent and you have your security because when you're building a family, you have to work together, right? So he had to give me an apartment where he's gonna have his share of the security, and he never came up with it. It was like, oh, I'm gonna have it in 2 weeks, I'm gonna have it in 3 weeks, I'm gonna have it in 4 weeks, right? So I was like, listen. Then he just came out and he said, and can we be real? Can we say certain words or we be restricted from that?
Can we use profanity? She's asking.
So basically, he told me.
I'm another word besides Sonia.
He said.
I'm quite sure.
He told me, being that he's giving me his good anatomy, okay, that I should just put in the 1 month rent and the 1 month security. And I was like, oh, so you think I'm that type of chick, okay? So I was like, so what was the
Wait, I got this one. I got this one. I got this one. See, Tanya, that's what I was just talking about. Because if I was your homeboy, I'd be ready to beat the heck out of him. Real talk. And I would tell you, no, you know what? Leave him. What do you need? I got you here.
And to be honest with you, I don't have any sisters, but I feel like I put it on both of you. Because if you tolerate and you didn't recognize that, and let's say King does put his hands on him and you still with him. Now King is jail. I'm just saying, now King's in jail, but women do that.
Sean, I think you dig a little too deep.
I would never put my black man, whether he's my brother, my cousin, put him in a state where he will lose his freedom for my mishap.
But you don't have to do that.
But at the same time, if I love you and I got that love for you, I'm gonna take care of that for you. You probably wouldn't even know because you already told me too much.
Yeah, but that's 2007. That's
But I know.
So listen up, everybody. Hello. I know. This is like I said from the very beginning. I knew that this topic. I knew this topic would be a deep topic.
Yes, can I please just say one thing? Sean, you said it earlier and I let it go, but I can't. Most of the women I know are not dictated by it. So whether he got a good thing, he give it to you good, don't give it to you good, that don't dictate them. I mean, I've seen a few women, but majority of the women I know, you know, to us, you know, maybe the women you dealt with, but majority of the women I know, Angela, yes, ladies, help me out here.
Yeah, ladies.
You know, because just like you got a good thing, our thought process is so does the next one or whatever. You know, I mean, most of the women that I know, and this is my personal experience, are not dictated by that.
No.
You know, that piece in the middle. I think men think with it.
It means nothing.
You know,
No,
it means nothing.
that's
Especially at our age. You know, you know what my sister said? Men sit on their brains.
But guess what? That's a stereotype. That's a stereotype that is very prevalent, and the reason why it's prevalent because it's true to a lot of people.
It's true to you, Sean.
No, it's not actually. To be honest with you, I'd rather not have intimacy and get to know a girl.
Get to know who you are
without having intimacy.
Okay, but we're talking about majority of the men out there.
He's a good guy.
Majority of the men out there, they want that first.
No, see, that's and that's the problem.
And that's the majority of the men.
Can I have a timeout, please? Please, can I have a timeout?
Yeah. Can I say something real quick?
Four parts.
Can I say something real quick? All right, guys, this is not over. I'll be back next week. I got a business meeting I got to jump on and continue to build and look for my queen. So it was a pleasure meeting you, Vera. Angela, you already know. Sharice, it was?
Yes, Sharice.
Yes.
Okay, Sharice and Tanya. Sean, my man, you should roll with us tomorrow night, man. That's all I can say. Thank you, queens. Thank you, kings.
Thank you, Brother Herman.
No problem.
So like I was saying at the beginning,
you by yourself?
I knew this topic would go
here, Sean.
to many dimensions, because it just has that much fruit on it.
It does.
Because it came back from so far, and we could trace it back to slavery. This one statement. So something that you can trace back from slavery all the way until we are still fighting this thing today. It's still controversial still today. I knew we would not hit any corners in 1 hour. It just wasn't going to happen.
We need 3 days.
I'm breaking it up into a whole week series, right? So I'm breaking.
We all get final statements before we go. We all get a final statement.
Yeah, you can get a final statement. However, again, anything in life begins and ends with you. No matter who you are, from inside out, you must build your own character. You must build your own character. You must lift your own self-esteem. You must encourage yourself. You must empower yourself and motivate yourself. It's up to you who you are every single day, because as long as we wake up, we immediately are granted power over our lives, that we can speak life over our life and become whoever we would like to be. So if we are living in a limited zone, stuck in a box, thinking that you cannot get out the box, and you're choosing, you have to make better choices, because we're older now. You've been through some experiences that should make you stop and think, well, dang, do I really want to go through this again? How about this? Get angry. Get angry at yourself, saying, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of meeting this same old raggedy man, of meeting this same raggedy woman. You have to take accountability of your choices that you're making and not going into meeting somebody, one, because of their physical. Two, it's not about the flesh. It's about what's inside of them that you have to get to learn. But if you don't get to learn who you are for yourself, just like we all say, you shouldn't be dating. Vera said it earlier. You shouldn't be dating. If you are not comfortable, if you are walking around bruised and hurt up, you shouldn't be dating. Who are you to give somebody your hurt? And then you are expecting them to fix and mend every single hole that the previous person gave you, that 10 people before them gave you. How dare you? How dare you expect this new person to be that knight or queen in shining armor to fix every bullet hole that you're bleeding and oozing liquids out of? How dare you? And then you're not bringing anything to the table because you're still harboring over the past person. So because you're hurt, you're taking your hurt to the next person and you expect them to make a change. Change will not happen unless it starts with you first.
Amen.
It just will not happen. So I don't care what statement we bring to the table. It seems that every week we still come to the same conclusion. Everything ends and begins with us. We have Black love. This is all over. This whole entire hour. Black love is here. We want it, right? We want Black love. We are culturally compassionate. We need each other. But if you take off the ego, the ignorance, and have patience with yourself, you can sit down and better evaluate what exactly is going on with yourself. What exactly do you like? What exactly do you not like? What exactly can you tolerate? What exactly do you want to be bothered with? And you don't have to accept any inappropriate treatment from anyone. You do not have to be mistreated and just try to convince yourself, well, maybe they had a bad day. No, damn it. No. They are nasty. They have a poor attitude. They are not good communicators. They are emotionally unavailable for you. They only come in to have sex with you and leave you and not call you the next day. Identify that this is poor behavior. This is mistreatment. This is not love. Not, oh, he likes me because he wants some. No, don't give it up.
That's right.
Don't give it up. Yeah. Meet in the mind. Give your mind an orgasm here. Sure. Everything begins and ends with us. So at some point, you have to get angry and stop being gullible and vulnerable and say, I just need this satisfaction here right now. I gotta have it right now. I ain't had none in so long. Meanwhile, you just had something to do before yesterday. So, like, you have to come through and have patience with yourself. Sit down with yourself. Identify who you are and stop bringing your holy self with holes, not holy, but with holes, to somebody else and expecting them to fix them. We have to take accountability for our lives. We have to break the mindset of generational curses that has been beating our families up for centuries. At some point, we have to say, okay, the train stops here. I'm getting off. At some point, you must say, Let me hit the restart button and start over new. At some point, when are you going to get angry? When are you going to say, I really need a hug and be sincere about it? When is it going to be time that you can say, I can encourage myself. I am beautiful. I can make things possible with anything that I can speak life to. I am going to be A, B, and C. Claim and put a decree on your life. You have the power within inside of you. Why? Because God gave it to us. Why? Because you woke up today, damn it. You woke up with purpose. Understand that when you wake up every morning, that is a gift. That is a gift. But so many people sit up and complain the minute they open their eyes.
Amen.
They complain about everything. And then you want God to bless you. You want God to answer your prayers. And all you do is complain. Listen, we have to stop. Take accountability. Be intentional. Be purposeful in our lives. We cannot no longer point fingers and blame everybody. Oh, the white man did it. Oh, the next door neighbor did it. Oh, that man from yesterday did it. My baby father did it. Come on. Stop. You got to stop. You got to, just something has to stop. But hold on, men, women. Men, y'all have to stop walking around and not claiming what's really wrong with you, too.
Absolutely.
Y'all have to take accountability of being fatherless or being motherless or being raped or being a child born of drugs or being abandoned. You have to take accountability because you're taking out your problems and you're dropping it on the woman like she's supposed to pick you up and nurture you like she's your mother. She's not your mother. She's your partner. She's your future. She's your builder with you. Y'all are supposed to pray together and build empires together. It's about a kingdom building project here. That's Black love. So it's not to tear her down, call her names because she didn't do what you wanted her to do today, of which you could have did, but you didn't. Then you go to the next house, the next house, the next house. Then you got 7 houses you go into in one day, taking this one car, going to the third one car and the fourth one car, and driving the second and the fifth one around. Take accountability. And stop blaming, oh, because she did this. Did you tell her? Did you explain it to her? Babe, could we talk? You know, you did this to me. I really don't like it, but tell the truth. Oh, because this happened to me when I was 8. So I have an issue coping. Oh, I fear blank. Oh, I'm unable to completely understand. Let me tell you something. Black women are the most forgiving, nurturing creatures, powerful on this earth. Nothing is more stronger than a Black woman. We go to bat 150% for our men. Period. Period. So for you to underestimate the strength of the queen that you have in front of you, you underestimate the power, you underestimate the wisdom, you underestimate her and then make her feel that she's incapable, like she's not enough, and then have the audacity to put hands on her. And then you want us to love you, to suck you, to have any kind of sex with us that you want, and then get out of our bed and go to the next female and do it to her again. Take responsibility of where you've been, of where you don't want to talk about, and that you want to hide and from everybody.
Say that.
That corner get real dark and ugly on both sides. That corner gets dark and ugly on both sides. So we can't afford to point fingers anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have time to do that anymore because we have more years behind us than we have ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have time to play games anymore. We have to stand up. We talking about since slavery, okay? From bringing us from Africa to America, splitting us apart, period, taking away our language, taking away our culture, taking away our family, and want us to assimilate to your ways. There has to be a point that we can stand up and say no more. And it starts with yourself. Stop acting like you're lonely and horny every night because you're single and you need to get anything. Start with your brain. Feed your brain. Pick up a book. Read it. Write something. Educate yourself. Go take a class. Share your knowledge. Build your community. Raise your kids. We got to get better, y'all.
Amen.
We got to get better. We got to do better. We got to improve on who we are. And if we do not stop and take accountability, because every single one of us need work. We can't sit and keep lying to ourselves every day. Every single one of us need work. So I'm going to give everybody 2 minutes of fame because everybody want to have a final say. So I'm gonna give everybody that final say, but we're gonna pick this up. I think I'm gonna make this a series, because I'm the type of person, I like to do facts and I like to start at the root, because if you don't get to the root and bring it up to the current, and then let's work on bringing some implementing some type of plan that we can share to bring awareness to our communities, then we still at the same spot we started at. So I hope that you guys want to do this series with me, the ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens. I hope that you want to do this series with me, because this topic is extremely powerful. Do y'all agree?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, I was about to say I don't hear nothing. Okay,
Sean feeling lonely down there.
You know what's, huh? I didn't hear you.
Sean feeling lonely down there.
Go first. Sharice go first. Tanya, Sean, Angela, and then Vera. Okay, in that order: Sharice, Tanya, Sean, Angela, and Vera. So Sharice, you got 2 minutes.
So I really don't have to say right now because Sean just threw me a whole loop. I'm like,
I did.
Yeah, because instead of listening, you took bits and pieces of what I said and made it into your own scenario.
Did I? Okay.
A little bit. Okay. When men is own their responsibilities of when they're wrong and when they're speaking out of turn, and someone gets offended by it. Can you hear me?
So what's your conclusion for today's series?
We need part 2.
Oh, we're gonna have a series.
We need a part 2.
We're gonna have a series. We're not just gonna have a part 2. But I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna organize a series. Okay.
Yes.
We're gonna organize on it.
I enjoyed it. It was very informative.
So that's the conclusion until next week.
Yes, but it was very good though. It was very good. I learned a lot from everyone here.
Thank you so much. Listen, that's all we got to do is share because we care. All right, Tanya, your conclusion for today?
Say again?
Your conclusion for today.
Oh, I think that it was awesome. I think that we just started scratching the surface, and I think that if anything doesn't change, at least all of us will change once we finish this series, where we will know how to identify self more, and we'll know how to start the healing and self-reflection of self, which is basically the beginning of everything. So, and then once we have that empowerment, we will also know how to project what we truthfully want and what we truthfully need, because we are connected with our creator. So that's what I got. And that's what I'm
All right, Sean.
That's funny. So, Sharice, my apologies if you felt that I took out of context anything that you said. I didn't recognize it. And acknowledgement is the first step. Accountability is the second step. And resolution becomes the third. She said earlier, we got to stop pointing fingers, but if in fact those fingers are being pointed appropriately, that's getting to the root of the issue. And if you can't get to the root of the issue, you can't get to a resolution to solve the problem. So we got to stop saying it's pointing fingers when in fact it might be some truth behind it. So I ask everybody, if there's truth in it, embrace it and acknowledge it. Do not just disregard it or dismiss it, which a lot of people have a tendency to do, is to be dismissive. And instead of listening to what might ail a person or what they're saying, they go ahead and dismiss it like that's not true. No, that is the truth. That's my truth. And if in fact you can't receive my truth, then you can't help me receive my resolution. And as kings and queens, we are supposed to be able to help one another with that.
Sometimes you have to explain your truth.
Well, in time, if you listen, in time, and we identify, that comes. Because everything that she was saying was basically what I started with, except it was more in depth. I said everything she was, I think everything she was saying. So I would say this, that we have to identify before anything. And without trust, there is no love. And that's basically what's boiling down to. People don't trust one another. And the reason why people don't trust one another are a variety of reasons. Whether it's their past, whether it's their inside, whether it's their present, whether it's their upbringing, downbringing, whatever the case may be. But do we always take the time to address and or listen to what those things are to try and get a resolution? The answer, truthfully, is no. And if in fact we want to get some resolutions as we're speaking about, we have to listen more. So I challenge us all to, once again, acknowledge what it is that is within you that you can change, because that's the only person you can change is yourself. Acknowledge what it is, take accountability for it. And once you take that accountability, then you can work on the resolution with the help of others or within yourself or a collective. But if you don't have that acknowledgement, there won't be any way to get that resolution. So ladies, I thank you all for your perspectives. And I look forward to hearing more of your perspectives in the future and sharing some of my perspectives. Because quite frankly, when y'all said, I think from between my legs, that was the funniest thing to me. I spent 2 years being celibate by choice.
Wow.
And I got challenged by a lot of women who doubted that I was being celibate and actually threw it at me. So I turned down more than I actually had the opportunity, so when I heard that, it was humorous to me. But the thing is, a lot of women feel that way. And so they never really pay attention to the character. Once again, they pay attention to what they feel, what they've been through. So I can't wait. I'm with you. I'm with you. Now, I'm with you. So say, thank you, ladies, and I can't wait to go into it further. And I commend you on that, Vera. 12 years.
12 years.
I commend you. That takes a lot.
By choice.
And that takes a lot. And what I say is, I don't want to sound stereotypical, but for women, I don't want to say it's less of a challenge. I don't want to say
don't say it. Don't go there. Don't go there.
Why you ahead, Sean? You better. Sean, you better wait while you ahead, boo. I'm telling you right now. You got to go into the wrong field. No.
Can I say this? Can I say this?
No.
Can I say this?
You got to wait while you ahead.
Can I say this? Can I say this?
No.
Can I?
No.
Listen.
No. I said
you didn't hear me. But you didn't. You didn't hear me.
No.
You didn't hear me.
No.
You didn't hear me.
No.
Loud and clear, we heard you.
And I'm not going to. We're not going to.
Listen. Listen.
Sean. No.
You don't even know where I'm going. None of you know where I'm going.
Okay. Hold up. Sean.
No.
We're asking you.
No. Five women.
And let the next queen speak, please.
Okay. I didn't listen. Just for the record, you didn't listen. All five of you did not listen.
You are
Y'all listen to each other. Y'all listen to each other, but you didn't listen to the man to finish what he was saying.
You're on the Queen's platform tonight. You on the Queen's platform tonight. So
I'll be quiet.
You can talk to me better about it. But not tonight.
Sean, let's take his spanking like a man.
Angela?
Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments.
Yes, ma'am. Listen,
your final words, Queen.
Oh my goodness. I don't know where to begin. I want to say two things. I do want to speak to the narrative, and the narrative was why, are women taught to not need their Black men. But I also want to speak to very quickly, a couple of seconds. Sean, you use the word true and truth interchangeably a lot. Just because something is true for you doesn't make it a truth. Okay, so what's true for you is very subjective, and I get it. And you speak with such conviction, and you vehemently state things about women. And I think that you're not in a position. I respectfully say this to you, and it's not to condemn you, but you're not in a position to make such stronghold statements against women, just as like I'm in no position to make such a strong statement against a man. You've done it several times. Just go back and rewind. You say, well, I'm telling you a truth. Well, just because it's true for you. And it's really based off of your perception. So unless you're the sun that rises every day, which it technically really doesn't rise, you can't really say what's truth, but it may be true for you. As far as the narrative is concerned, I do think that we are taught not to need our men because of the pain, because of what our mothers and grandmothers and great-grandmothers have experienced. Girl, make sure you always have a little money on the side. Make sure you always have your secret stash. Make sure you're just in case he leaves, just in case he's not around, just in case you catch him with someone else. And okay. So it's like, we're taught that, and it really does become our reality. And I will say that as far as my daughter is concerned, I let her know, don't you ever let me hear you say you don't need a man. You may not need the man you're with if he does not work for you. If the relationship isn't working together, don't ever let me hear you say you don't need a man. I think it is all that pain wrapped up in all the lies, the cheating, the violence, the abuse, and children outside of wedlock, all these different things. And women, I do believe we inherently do love you. We want to fight for you. And you know it, because how many times have we looked at a woman in a relationship and say, she's stupid, she's still with him? Because we're usually in it for the long haul. we're usually in it to win it. We're usually in it, and we're praying and we're hoping that you'll make it. We're hoping that you heal. We're hoping that one day you wake up and realize that we're here for you. And I think over time, when that doesn't happen, we start to safeguard ourselves. And it's not that we don't need you. I think we're just afraid to allow ourselves to need you. And when I say you, I don't mean you as the individual, because I know you deem yourself a worthy and valuable man. But when I say you, I do mean men in general. When I say we, I mean all of us as women. So I think that over time, as we start to heal, like I said before, over time when we really start to heal, I think we'll give ourselves permission, and hopefully we'll break this generational cycle of single parent households and just not loving one another, and just accept more love and God into our life. And I think that will kind of generate and spawn into something amazing. Hashtag Black Love. Yes. So, go ahead, lady.
Okay. Yes, we definitely need to love more. And yes, Angela, to me, without God, the reason why it took 12 years is because I needed to know who I was. I didn't want to enter into something and I couldn't give 100%. So, and I think that's why I'm not saying I think, I know that's why my marriage is the way it is now, because I did take that time. My husband understands me, I understand him. And I wish that everyone has something like that. It is achievable. Okay. So when we say finger pointing, I want people to understand finger pointing is placing the blame on someone else. That's different from pointing out something that someone is doing that's displeasing in your sight. So don't finger point, because it's making it look as if you're in a position that you're better than that person. No, you're not. So pointing out something is completely different. It's okay to point something out, but we as people need to examine ourselves and understand who we are. You understand what I mean? So if Angela comes to me and say, hey, V, you know what? That wasn't cool. I should be able to be receptive to that criticism and say, you know what? Because the way that you see yourself may not necessarily be the way that the other person sees you. So you got to understand that. We can self-examine all we want, but there's something in your action that if the person brings it to your attention, be willing to listen. But I want to leave you with this. A woman that was very dear to my heart passed away years ago. She was older than me. She said, if you do right, you can't go wrong. Okay. So always approach something how you want to be treated. You understand what I mean? In your actions, self-examine yourself. What am I doing? If I want that back, let me treat that person with respect. You understand what I'm saying? And for me, prayer is everything. You know what I mean? And, just have compassion, let go of the high and mighty hoity, or, the numbering system of keeping account of what someone has or what they don't have and what you did, what you didn't do. Just love. Open up your heart. Just, open up your mind. Just love. And if they're not giving it back, you know what? You need to close that chapter of your life. And it ain't about, don't just lay on your back, throw your legs up in the air, flop around like a turtle, just because, it's not worth that little, scratching that little itch, because a lot of things can come out of it. Well, at our age, we ain't worrying about pregnancy or anything like that. But, we need to teach our girls that too. We need to teach them how that have that self-respect for yourself. You understand what I mean? Yes, he should respect you. And if he don't, somebody will. So, know your net worth. But lastly, this is my last thing. I want to say to Sean, I'm looking forward to part 2. Bring your gang, because it's on.
The dangers of
this is how I keep my husband in line. He knows.
We're gonna ask your husband to join us.
He's right here, Alan. Come here.
Yeah.
He knows. I'm kidding. Come around here.
He don't want to come.
No, he right here.
Oh man, I need another guy. Help me.
Hello.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone.
That's my buddy.
I thank all of you so much for coming on. Again, it's when you come on a panel and you stream live all over the entire world, it's not an easy job. It's just not. And it takes a lot of courage. So I commend everyone and I appreciate you so much for coming on to show your face, to share your view. It's just nothing but love. My whole point of my ministry is for us to come together as one and to be heard so the next person can hear, because everyone has a story to tell. All of us has been through some type of life situations, life trauma, life hurt, life pain, whatever it is. We are not alone. And my ministry, the charge room, is about healing. And if we don't come together to speak out and to identify what hurts us, what we like, what we dislike, what we have been tolerating, what we should not have been tolerating all of our lives, we won't know. If we don't listen, we won't know. If we don't have patience, we won't know. So we have to, I'm going to say, test the waters, because if you don't test the water to check the temperature, you're not going to walk in it. And I just want to bring awareness to everyone. Test the water. If you don't test the water, you'll never know, because it could be something that you're comfortable with. It could be something that you identify, well, this is my purpose. It could be something that you can take what you have and realize that you have worth and that you can share it. Or how about this? Reach back and help the people behind you. We have to share our stories. We have to share our minds. We have to share our hearts, our trials, our tribulations. Because if we were not tested, we will never have a testimony.
Amen.
We wake up and we're still here. We are still here with purpose. We are still here with intention. So that means do something about it. So I decided to do something about it. And I'm not doing it by myself. I'm bringing everybody with me.
Yes.
So it's not just about me. This is bigger than me. This is about kingdom building. Letting everybody know it's okay to love yourself. It's okay to celebrate yourself. It's okay to speak your story. It's okay to speak your pain. Because if you don't speak out what hurts you, you don't realize that someone else could help you. And you're not alone, and you can do it with someone else by your side to support you. You can do it with a group of support. You can do it with mountains of support, because you're not the only one that went through your story. It may be in a different way, but you're not the only one that went through your story. So I am grateful that I've been obedient in my calling, because I ran from it for a long time. And I'm here now. I'm here now. And now that I'm here, I want to share that everything is possible with God. There's nothing too hard. There's nothing too small. Everything is possible with God.
Amen.
So again, I thank every single one of you for coming on. I'm going to create a series. We are going to go through it.
Us
We are
versus
going
Sean.
to door by door. No, because this is serious talk. Like we are all in the process of healing from something. There's something we could have tucked in our back pockets that we totally forgot about. We totally forgot about. So we could be angry at something that we didn't realize that bothered us. If we are not coming here to talk about it and giving our perspectives and listening, right? So, it's all about, we are sharing. We are sharing because we're not just healing ourselves. We're healing everybody that's listening to us from the sound of our voices, right? So that's what ministry is all about. We're sharing. We're sharing because we didn't do it alone. God is in charge and he's going to take over. We're going to be all better. Everyone is going to be better. It's all about improvement. If you don't wake up and improve every day, you have to find your purpose because God gave everyone a purpose. We are here not just to be looked at, not just to be looked down upon. We are here to stand. God gave us power. God gave us power. So again, I thank you. I thank you. I look forward to seeing all of you next week. So we can continue with this series. We're gonna definitely work it out from the root. We're gonna learn some history and bring it together from the root. So we're gonna put facts and we're gonna listen to each other because everyone has a view. It's a beautiful thing when you have different perspectives. It's a beautiful thing, and it's not about art. It's not an argument. Just because you don't agree, that's not an argument. It's your view and respect it. Just respect it. And it's okay that we all think differently. That means we have 6 different opinions and we can still love each other.
Amen.
Right?
And we're not going to hold
so
anyone.
Yes, I think everybody. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, again, I thank everybody and I'll see everybody next week. So, good night, Tanya.
Peace and love.
Good night, Sean. Good night, Vera. Good night, Angela.
Love you, sis.
Good night, Sharice.
Good night, ma'am.
Good night. So once again, I thank you, everyone, for listening tonight. We went over because it just got so good. We went over, and it's just a beautiful thing when we can all come together because it is about listening to each other, and it's okay to disagree. Just listen to a person and get their perspective, and hear what they have to say. And just because you disagree does not mean you stop talking to someone. It does not mean that you can't love them. Just respect them and love them. You have a different point of view. It's okay that the next person has a different point of view. And again, everything begins and ends with us, and we have to love us first in order for us to love someone else. So this is the Charge Room. My name is Ilyasa Simpson. Tonight was Wednesday. Every Wednesday night at 7, we come from the platform Queens Must Wear Crowns, and it's all about the women. But tonight I wanted to be interesting because I wanted to have a few male viewpoints. I wanted to get perspectives from single women and married women alike. So I had a mixture of a nice pot tonight. So again, I am on Facebook Live from my page, Ilyasa Simpson. I'm on Facebook Live from also my page of the Charge Room. And I'm also streaming from YouTube, the Charge Room Inc. So please like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. On Instagram is the Charge Room. And subscribe to YouTube, the Charge Room Inc. So we can always be notified when we pop on. If you're doing something, it'll give you an indication that we are on so you can chime in. So again, thank you, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow because tomorrow is King's Where's My King and the men's locker room. We're going to have an all-male panel tomorrow, and we're going to talk about some relationship concerns. So we'll see you tomorrow, Facebook Live or YouTube Live tomorrow at 7. So everyone take care, and thank you for chiming in tonight. Good night.